Okay, thank you everybody. Welcome to my presentation. The topic of my talk is mathematical model applied to green building concept for sustainable cities under climate change. The basic outline of my talk is motivation, global warming and climate change, some brief history on the green building concept, and then we formulate a mathematical model for green buildings, and finally concluding remarks. Motivation. Harmful effect of global warming and climate change is no longer a prediction. It is just a reality now. The developed countries are the main responsible for this global warming, but the main victims are the middle and low income countries like Bangladesh. By 2015, with the projection of 50 centimeter rising in the sea level, and Bangladesh may lose approximately 11% of its land, affecting an estimated 50 million people living in the low-cost coastal region. Almost 80% of the total area is prone to flooding. So this is the very basic information about the effect of global warming and climate change effect in Bangladesh. The global warming, actually, what is the fact behind that? Global warming is the unusual rapid increase of Earth's average temperature. It happens due to the excess greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and it results in rising Earth's air and ocean temperature for heavy heat waves, rising sea level or the melting snow, disappearing glaciers, disruption of habitats, and outbreaks of several emerging reinforcing infectious disease. The last official initiative of climate affairs, it was conducted by United Nations, which is called Paris Agreement, where it is seen that the total amount of the emission of carbon dioxide, including all greenhouse gases, and the biggest responsible for this on the United States, then second on is China, and sequentially Europe and Russia, India, Japan, Brazil, and Germany, so on. So this is the country, different countries signed to reduce this emission at least half of their emission each year. And very recently, it is more alarming that in 2019, China emitted 27% of the global total carbon dioxide, that is greenhouse gas emission. And even in 2020, China is again the most highest emitter of these greenhouse gases. So all this indicates that this huge amount of greenhouse gases increases our temperature, global temperature, every year. So this is the day by day decades average temperature rising rapidly. You can see from 1950 to 2020, the temperature is rising very surprisingly, and it results in the global warming and even the climate change. So what is the step should be taken now? According to the Paris Agreement, almost 197 countries signed to keep global warming below 2 degrees Celsius, and if possible even 1.5 degrees Celsius. So now it is a challenge to meet the sustainable development goal by 2030. Since cities are the most greenhouse gas emitter, so to reduce this emission, it is crucial to take a smart city plan. For a smart city, it means the less carbon emitter city with maximum green infrastructure. And it is predicted that cities could get 44 degrees Celsius more hotter by the end of this century. So this is the best and even the important technological way to build this green building concept, green building idea for sustainable cities for our future generation. And we know that in sustainable development goals, there are 17 goals, but one goal is related to the sustainable cities and communities, like the goal number 11. It is only alone about sustainable cities and communities. And these sustainable cities and communities include a lot of targets fulfilling by 2030. And towards meeting this sustainable goal, green building is our main idea to construct and renovate all the buildings in the urban area. So what is the green building? Green building actually can reduce water and energy consumption, use eco-friendly building tools, minimize greenhouse gases, inspire renewable mitigation, and reduce indoor and outdoor heat waves, promote solar energies, and develop the environment with trees and roof gardening. So there is the best barriers against climate change into different ways. Firstly, performing energy efficiency, and secondly, promoting green communities. Here is the symbol, here is the sample and green building and non-green building concept. You can see the difference between green building and the non-green building concept. And what is the advantage of green building? A non-green building is responsible to consume 35 to 40% of total energy. But green building actually reduce this 30 to 40% energy. For 1/3 of the greenhouse gas emit from this non-green building. But green building reduce this 20% of building related greenhouse gas. So to emit globally 27% energy related carbon dioxide gas. And green building can reduce 30% of the water consumption, 50% of the solid waste, and provide better indoor quality. So this is the advantage of green buildings for the next sustainable development for our smart city. So considering all the above things, all the above characteristics of the green building, we have the idea to construct, to formulate a mathematical model in terms of the time derivatives of different components, considering the state variable. So we formulate a model here, and we will show that the green building can play a sustainable role to reduce the greenhouse gases, that is to reduce the global temperature, and for our sustainable cities can be developed in terms of green building concept. Here the green building, we can say, it may be the residential building, an industry, a factory, a commercial building, or even educational institute, hospital. Anything can be a green building. We can make it in green building state. A green building can produce lots of energies by reducing the toxic emissions. So this is the different way that we reconstruct our the old building, even they redesign the new buildings for the sustainable cities. So we'll consider here 4 state variables, considering 4 components in different states. Actually, the first one is the green building. So we want to maximize our green buildings in the urban area or the sustainable city. For the sustainable cities, we would, the main idea is to reduce the greenhouse gases. And then our human community should get benefit from this green building. And also, green building can produce several energetic ingredients. So we consider here 4 components in terms of differential equation we formulate with nonlinear mathematical modeling. And our idea is number of green buildings we denote it G, amount of greenhouse gas emission is C, ingredients is like I, and the human communities of a certain area is. There are several other parameters and some growth rate for constructing this type of model in this study. So here, considering all these above things, our basic assumption actually is to describe the probable change in the greenhouse emission rate after observing by the green buildings. They discuss the impact of the green buildings on greenhouse absorption over human communities and establish the green buildings against greenhouse gas emission reduction. So all the things will be analytically proved, and then it will be verified numerically to show the effectiveness of this green building idea. All this variable can be reconstructed in terms of differential equation, like these 4 differential equation, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see this is actually the time derivatives with respect to time. Over the time, we can make a dynamic equation. This is a very simple differential equation, and it is very uniquely described how necessary, how mathematics can play a role to describe our everyday dynamical problem in our real life. So this mathematical problem should be first verified analytically, because every equation should have a unique solution, and solution should be exist and it should be unique. So this is called the existence and uniqueness, and this is actually the well posedness of the model. So all the well posedness have been verified using positivity test, equilibrium points analysis, and stability analysis by analytically. Then analytical results have been verified using the numerical simulation, and the simulation parameter have been actually taken from the recent updated data from different international organization, even the World Economic Forum. We can take the data and make this parameter calculated to put for the numerical simulation. Now here you can see the numerical simulation of the proposed model is very clear from the figure, that if we take in together all the component together, you can see by absorbing greenhouse gases, the green building produce amount of energetic ingredients. That is, green building is increasing, and also the emission, the greenhouse gas is increasing, and the growth rate of the ingredients, it is actually decreasing, and our human community is increasing, because human communities is taking benefit from this greenhouse green building idea, the innovation of the green building idea. Now from this figure it will be more clear how it affects in reducing the greenhouse gases or reducing the global temperature from the green buildings. You can see from the simulation and in figure A that greenhouse gases absorption by green building, when green building absorbs less greenhouse gases, then green building rate is very low and greenhouse gases is very high, and it is vice versa, because when the absorption rate is higher or green building is higher, because it depends on the green building. When green building is renovated, much more green building all in the city area, then it will absorb mass greenhouse gases, and then greenhouse gases emission will be reduced. So this is the fundamental idea. And another figure here you can see, if the green building absorbs low greenhouse gases, it generally produces less ingredients, and is the similar way it for the human community. If the human community increases, then the green building gives more ingredient to the human communities by absorbing more greenhouse gases. So this is very important, and it is shown that if we can increase the green building, all in the city or for the sustainable cities, our greenhouse gases can be reduced significantly, and which can reduce the global warming for the sustainable development goal and for the sustainable cities for our human communities. So our findings tell that mathematical model actually very interesting fundamental tools to describe the time varying dynamical behavior of our real system. So this model suggests that human activities, especially building technologies, is responsible for existing greenhouse gas emission. As a result, the Earth climate as well as atmospheric temperature are rapidly changed. The amount of greenhouse gas is proportionally decreases with the increase of green buildings. The production of ingredients and absorption of greenhouse proportionally depends on the number of green buildings. So green buildings can enhance the ingredients and human communities by absorbing more greenhouse gases, and it will help for the sustainable development of our cities, and it will save our future life for our future generation. So this is the basic summary of our talk. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your patience, and thank you, organizer, for giving an opportunity to share my research with these fundamental and the renowned scientists among global participants here.